Good morning, my natural, essential, organic patriots. Let's take a look at this headline from the Washington Post. Despite pandemic, level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere hits historic levels. Oh dear, what will we do? Economies worldwide nearly ground to a halt over the 15 months of the Wuhan flu panic, leading to a startling drop in greenhouse gas emissions. But the story goes on. If it ended right there, it would be a good story, wouldn't it? Let's go on for one more paragraph. But that did little to slow the steady accumulation of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which reached the highest levels since accurate measurements began 63 years ago, scientists said on Monday. It's funny, but throughout this entire story, there's only mention of one nation, the United States, of course. And in this story, it states about how Beijing Biden has pledged to halve by 2030 the amount of CO2 the U.S. produces. Now, 2030 is a real long way off. You notice how all politicians claim that their policies will start having effect well after they leave office. But even if Beijing Biden's policy takes effect and the United States cuts its CO2 emissions in half, will it have any effect at all? Well, let's take a look at another country that isn't mentioned in this story. Chicom started more coal plants than the entire world retired in 2020. This from oilprice.com. Despite commitments to become a net zero emission economy by 2060, there we go again. Promises made in the far distant future where they can be easily broken, modified, completely ignored. Look at the next part of the sentence. The world's biggest carbon emitter. That's right. Communist China is the world's biggest CO2 polluter. It commissioned more coal-fired capacity last year than the rest of the world retired. China's coal boom in 2020 more than offset the retirements in coal capacity in the rest of the world, leading to the first increase in global coal capacity development since 2015. 2015. That's when Barry was in office, wasn't it? Well, let's take a look at the CO2 emissions for the entire world. This map is thanks to ourworldindata.org. And if we take a look at the world's worst polluters, China comes in number one at 10.17 billion tons of carbon dioxide emissions. How bad is it? Well, number two, the United States comes in at 5.28 billion tons. India comes in at 2.26 billion tons. Russia comes in at 1.68 billion tons. And after that, it falls off to millions of tons. So China, by itself, emits almost carbon dioxide pollution as the entire rest of the world. No wonder the Washington Compost didn't mention the world's polluters in this story. Now, like every other human being on this earth, I want to live where the skies are blue, where the air is fresh, the water clean, The earth is covered in grass and comfortable to walk on in my bare feet. There are very few people evil enough in this world who want any other kind of planet. We can't force other countries to not pollute. I think of pollution as a personal choice. I also think of pollution as an economic choice. Here's what I mean. If you buy and discard smartphones every 2 or 3 years, you're polluting more than you should. If you have to have the latest fashions and you throw clothes out before they're worn out, you're a major polluter. If you drive a vehicle much larger than your personal needs, you're a major polluter. But guess what? Economically, all these choices also hurt your wallet. It is my supposition that frugality and environmentalism go hand in hand.